Keep listening to English every single day helps improve your understanding and speaking naturally. It trains your ears to recognize words, sounds, and phrases. Daily practice builds confidence, vocabulary, and fluency. Stay patient and consistent. The more you listen, the more confident you'll become in speaking and understanding English fluently. One day, I will look back and thank myself for not giving up. There are moments in life when the weight of everything becomes too much, when your heart is tired, your mind is full, and it feels like the whole world is moving forward while you're stuck in place. In those moments, quitting can feel like the easiest option. But something inside us, maybe courage, maybe stubbornness, maybe just a flicker of hope, whispers, keep going. One day, I will look back and thank myself for listening to that voice. I will thank myself for waking up on the days I didn't want to get out of bed, for showing up when all I wanted to do was disappear. I'll remember the days when tears fell silently, the nights when sleep never came, and the afternoons when even a smile felt like too much to ask. I'll thank myself for surviving all of that. I'll remember the times I doubted my worth, when failure came knocking at my door and I began to believe I wasn't good enough. But still, I got up. Still, I tried again. I'll look back and thank myself for not letting those dark thoughts define me. Because growth doesn't happen in the easy chapters. It happens in the pages where everything feels broken. It happens in the middle of the struggle, when you're doing your best just to breathe, to stay afloat. That's where real strength is found. That's where the seed of transformation is planted. I'll thank myself for continuing to believe in better days, even when I couldn't see them. I'll thank myself for trusting that everything I was going through had a purpose, even when it made no sense at the time. I'll thank myself for having faith, not just in life, but in me. There were dreams I nearly gave up on. Big ones. The kind that made people roll their eyes or gently suggest I try something more realistic. But I kept chasing them. Slowly, clumsily, and often in silence. Some days I made progress, other days I fell backward, but I didn't stop. I'll thank myself for that. For fighting for the life I knew I was capable of living. I'll remember how lonely the path sometimes felt. How it seemed like everyone else had a roadmap, while I was still trying to find my direction. But I'll smile at how I kept moving anyway, how I kept trusting the process, even when it was slow and silent. I'll thank myself for being patient when nothing made sense and grateful when small blessings showed up. I'll be proud of the times I chose kindness over bitterness, even when I was hurting. I'll be proud of how I treated others when I had every reason to be angry at the world. I'll thank myself for being brave enough to let go of people, places, and habits that were holding me back. It wasn't easy. Letting go never is. But in the space that was left behind, I found new things. Healthier things. Stronger, kinder versions of myself. I'll remember how each little step added up. How the things that once felt impossible became my new normal. I'll look back and laugh at the moments I thought I would break because I didn't. I bent, I twisted, I cried. But I didn't break. One day, I'll stand in the light of all I've built. I'll look around at a life I created with my own hands, my own heart, my own hope. I'll see the fruits of my perseverance, the relationships that grew deeper, the confidence that bloomed, the wisdom that was shaped by every scar. I'll look back at the version of me who was tired, confused, and scared, and I'll want to hug them. I'll want to tell them, thank you for not giving up. Thank you for carrying us through. And maybe most of all, I'll thank myself for hope. For choosing it over fear. For choosing it even on the days when it felt far away. That fragile thread of hope is what pulled me forward. It's what allowed healing to happen. It's what helped me find joy again. In the end, I will not be proud because everything turned out perfectly. I will be proud because I didn't let the messy moments define me. I didn't let fear win. I didn't give up on myself. Because that version of me, the one who felt lost but kept going anyway, that's the version that changed everything. That's the hero of the story. Not the one who finally arrived, but the one who refused to stop when the journey got hard. I'll thank myself for being real, for being human. For not pretending to be perfect. For allowing myself to cry, to rest, to fall apart and rebuild. That honesty was its own kind of strength. So if you're reading this and you're in the middle of your own struggle, keep going. Your future self is waiting to thank you. They're cheering you on. They know it's coming. The breakthroughs, the blessings, the beauty that only comes after surviving the hard parts. And one day, when you finally reach that mountaintop, when the sun warms your face and you feel peace deep in your bones, you'll look back. And like me, you'll whisper to your past self, "Thank you. You were stronger than you knew." In the quiet moments that follow the storms, there's a kind of reflection that only the soul understands. When I look back, I won't just see the battles, I'll see the bravery. I'll see the long nights of self-doubt, and right beside them, the little flickers of strength that kept me moving forward. I'll see how, time and time again, I picked myself up, even if I had to crawl. There's a special kind of courage in choosing not to give up. Not the loud, dramatic kind that movies glorify, but the quiet, steady kind. The kind where you wake up, knowing nothing has changed yet, but you still make your bed. You still go to work. You still make that phone call. You still try again. That's the kind of courage I'll thank myself for. I'll remember how I carried dreams that felt too heavy. How I smiled when I was silently falling apart inside. How I kept giving when I felt empty. How I stayed kind in a world that wasn't always kind back. Those choices, those seemingly small victories, built the foundation for the life I now live. I'll thank myself for refusing to become bitter. I'll be proud of the fact that I stayed open, that I didn't let pain harden my heart. That I still loved, still trusted, still hoped, even after being let down. That softness, that vulnerability, is not weakness, it's proof of inner strength. There were days I felt invisible, days I wondered if anyone would ever truly understand me. But I kept going. I kept showing up for myself, even when no one else seemed to notice. I'll thank myself for not abandoning me. The world doesn't always applaud you for surviving. There's no trophy for enduring heartbreak, no medal for fighting anxiety, no ribbon for overcoming trauma. But survival itself is the reward. The fact that I'm still here, still trying, still growing, that is a quiet miracle. I'll thank myself for staying in the game when I wanted to quit. For believing there was still a reason to try again. For understanding that healing isn't a straight line, it's messy and painful and full of setbacks, but worth every second. There's something sacred about the moments when you feel like breaking, but you don't. When the pressure builds and you feel yourself stretch in ways you never imagined, but you bend without shattering. I'll look back and admire the resilience I didn't even know I had. I'll thank myself for learning the hard lessons. For facing my own flaws, my mistakes, my regrets, and growing through them. I'll remember how I used pain as a teacher, not a prison. How I turned disappointment into determination. And I'll smile at the way I began to cheer for myself, even when no one else did. I became my own encourager. I became the voice that said, "You're doing better than you think. Keep going." That shift, choosing self-compassion over self-criticism, was life-changing. I'll remember the people I outgrew. The circles I left behind. The moments when walking away was the hardest thing, but also the healthiest. I'll thank myself for choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion. Sometimes, the bravest thing we do is let go. Through it all, I'll be thankful that I never lost my wonder. That I still found beauty in the small things, the sound of the rain, the comfort of a warm cup of tea, the way sunlight dances through trees. That quiet appreciation kept me grounded. I'll thank myself for asking for help when I needed it. For finally learning that strength doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means knowing when to lean on others. And I'll be grateful for the people who showed up, for the love that came when I least expected it. And perhaps most deeply, I'll thank myself for rediscovering joy. For laughing again. For singing in the kitchen. For dancing when no one was watching. For letting myself feel light after carrying so much heaviness. I'll think of the goals I accomplished, not just the big ones, but the quiet, personal ones, healing old wounds, setting healthy boundaries, loving myself as I am. Those victories matter just as much as any career milestone or public success. Looking back, I'll see the whole picture, the beauty and the brokenness. The setbacks that were really setups. The losses that led to deeper love. The detours that brought me exactly where I needed to be. I'll thank myself for walking through it all with grace, even when I was trembling inside. Because the truth is, every scar tells a story of survival. Every crack lets light in. Every tear watered something that later bloomed. I'll thank myself for being part of that beautiful, messy, miraculous process. And I hope, when I look into the mirror years from now, I see eyes filled with peace. A face lined with experience but glowing with self-love. I hope I can say with a full heart, we made it. And I'm so proud of you. So today, even if things are still uncertain, even if I'm tired or struggling, I'll choose to keep going. I'll choose to believe in that future version of me, the one who already knows it was all worth it. Because one day, I will look back and thank myself not only for surviving, but for growing, for blooming, for becoming. Not because I had all the answers. Not because everything was easy, but because I never gave up. And that made all the difference.